The night was quiet until flashing red and blue lights shattered it. A black woman in a navy suit stood outside her black SUV, badge clipped to her belt, one hand raised. Her name was Agent Nia Roberts, FBI, returning home from a long surveillance shift. But the local officer who'd stopped her didn't seem to care who she was. "Step away from the vehicle," he barked, gun drawn, voice tense. Nia stayed calm, her tone measured. "Officer, you've made a mistake. I'm a federal agent." She reached slowly for her credentials. "Don't move," he yelled, finger tightening on the trigger. She froze, her other hand slightly raised. "You asked for ID. I'm showing you my ID." The officer took a step closer, his flashlight in her eyes. "You think you can fool me with some fake badge? Hands where I can see them." From a distance, a few neighbors peeked from their windows. Someone whispered, "Oh no, not again." Nia's heartbeat slowed, not sped up. Years of training had taught her to read fear, and this man's fear was blinding him. "Officer," she said carefully, "lower your weapon. You're aiming at an FBI agent." "Yeah," he spat, "and I'm the president. Get on the ground, now." Her jaw tightened. She could see his stance, wide, nervous, reckless. One wrong breath, and he'd shoot. "Listen to me," she said softly. "You're escalating something you don't understand. There's a dashcam on, and I'm wearing a body cam. You really want this on record?" But he didn't hear reason. He raised the gun higher, aiming straight at her chest. That's when her instincts took over. A sharp flash of movement, a shot rang out, but not from his weapon. He stumbled backward, gun flying from his hand as her round hit the concrete beside him, deliberately off target but close enough to end it. He dropped, terrified. Nia was already moving, sweeping up his gun, kicking it away, and pinning him down in one smooth motion. The silence that followed was deafening. She leaned close, voice cold but controlled. "If I wanted to hit you, I would've. I fired a warning shot. You're lucky I believe in restraint." He gasped, You shot at me." She held up her badge inches from his face. The golden letters gleamed under the streetlight, Federal Bureau of Investigation. "You aimed at me first," she said flatly. "Now you'll explain that on your own camera." Police sirens grew louder in the distance as backup arrived, tires screeching. But Nia didn't flinch. She stood up, holstered her weapon, and said calmly, "Call your captain. Tell him Agent Roberts just prevented a homicide, yours." The backup units rushed in, 3 cruisers surrounding the scene, lights flashing across the quiet street. Officers jumped out, guns drawn, shouting over each other. "Drop your weapon," one yelled at Nia. "Don't move," shouted another. But Nia didn't flinch. Her badge was already raised high. "FBI, everyone, lower your weapons." Her voice carried authority, the kind that came from years in command rooms, not just training fields. Still, the local cops hesitated, glancing between her and the officer on the ground, who was clutching his arm and shouting, "She shot at me. She tried to kill me." Nia took one steady step forward, tone calm but cold. "That's a lie. He aimed his weapon first. My dashcam and his body cam both caught it." One of the sergeants, older and sharper than the rest, stepped closer. "Let's verify that, Agent." He squinted at her badge. "Roberts." "Yes, sir. Special Agent Nia Roberts, FBI Counterintelligence Division." The name hit like a slap of silence. The younger officers exchanged uneasy looks. Everyone knew that name. She was the one who'd led a corruption probe 2 years ago that ended with several police officers behind bars. The sergeant swallowed. "Agent Roberts, this is going to get messy." Nia's gaze didn't waver. "Then clean it up with the truth." The injured officer pushed himself up slightly, rage twisting his face. "She's lying. I thought she was armed." "You're right," Nia said, taking a step closer. "I was armed, legally, and trained to shoot straighter than you ever will. But I didn't hit you, I spared you." The sergeant raised his hand. "Enough. Everyone calm down." He looked at one of his men. "Pull the dashcam footage, now." The young officer sprinted to the cruiser and started playing the video. The crowd that had gathered around held their breath. On the small screen, everything was clear, the officer shouting, gun drawn, ignoring warnings. And Nia's steady voice, giving him chance after chance to stand down. Then the single shot, clean, precise, hitting the pavement inches from his boot. A warning, not a threat. The sergeant looked up slowly, his jaw tight. "Looks like the only thing she hit was your pride, officer." The crowd murmured. Someone whispered, "She saved him from himself." Nia holstered her weapon, her tone still calm. File your report. Include the part where I didn't shoot to kill. That matters. The sergeant nodded. You have my word, Agent Roberts. As she turned to leave, the wounded officer muttered, You think this is over? She paused, looking back at him one last time. It's over for you, she said quietly. The Bureau doesn't forget who pulls the trigger first. And with that, she walked away under the red-blue lights, her shadow long against the asphalt, calm, powerful, and untouchable. By morning, the video had already exploded online. Every news channel replayed the same 30-second clip, an officer pointing a gun, and the calm black woman revealing her FBI badge before firing a single warning shot. The internet called her the calmest agent in America. Nia sat in her kitchen, sipping black coffee as the screen in front of her showed a live broadcast. Her phone buzzed non-stop, messages from old partners, reporters, and even the Bureau's deputy director. She didn't answer any of them. She just stared at the TV where the host was saying, was this self-defense or defiance? The nation wants answers. Her son, Malik, came downstairs, rubbing his eyes. Mom, that's you, right? On TV. Nia gave a faint smile. Yeah, baby, that's me. He frowned. They're saying bad stuff about you online. Are you in trouble? She reached over and squeezed his hand. Trouble finds people who don't back down from truth. I'll be fine. Just then, someone knocked on the door, sharp, official knocks. Nia glanced at the clock. 7:42 a.m. Too early for neighbors. She opened the door, and standing there were two men in dark suits. One of them flashed an FBI ID. Agent Roberts, we need you to come with us. Director's orders. Her heart didn't race, she'd been expecting this. What's the charge? She asked calmly. Not a charge, a meeting, one replied. But his eyes didn't match his tone, they were wary. Almost afraid. She nodded and grabbed her coat. Malik, stay here. Lock the doors. As she stepped outside, she noticed the black SUV parked across the street, government plates, tinted windows, no insignia. Inside, the silence was heavy. No one spoke until they reached the field office. The director's assistant met her at the entrance. The director's waiting for you in the situation room. It's serious. When Nia walked in, the room was filled, not just the director, but three other high-ranking agents, and on the far side, the same police chief whose officer had pulled a gun on her. The director folded his hands. Agent Roberts, do you realize your incident has sparked national outrage? We've got city protests, media interference, and the governor's office breathing down our necks. Nia leaned forward. I did my job. The officer aimed first. The chief barked, you humiliated my department. You think waving your badge gives you the right to shoot at cops? She turned to him slowly, voice calm but cold. I didn't shoot at your cop. I stopped him from shooting me. And maybe if your department trained better, I wouldn't have to. The chief's face reddened, but before he could respond, the director spoke. Enough. Agent Roberts, there's more to this. That officer, Turner, wasn't acting alone. Nia's eyes narrowed. Meaning, the director slid a file across the table. Inside were surveillance photos, bank statements, and coded text messages. He's been in contact with someone we've been tracking for months. A mole within law enforcement. Nia scanned the pages. Her stomach tightened. The signature at the bottom of one document wasn't Turner's, it was someone she recognized. Someone inside the bureau. Her voice dropped. You're telling me this wasn't just a traffic stop, it was a setup? The director nodded grimly. Exactly. And now, Agent Roberts, we need you to find out who's pulling the strings.